Okay, so this is a update on my Nano saltwater tank, a small reef system in a 10-gallon tank. To recap, there's a clownfish, a scooter blenny, and a handful of corals, along with about half a dozen micro crustaceans, hermit crabs, as well as also some other small invertebrates, different types of worms, starfish, and I have macro and micro algae in here. Come on, focus. There we go. So in here is Bernice and a clownfish, also named, and that one is Maud. To go over, this tank has been running for a couple of years, but not in this fashion. For about a few months it has now been housed to the fish. Some of the coral were already in here, and you know, from that point, that was the Reefapalooza. I had filled this up, and they've been living very well. Just did a minor chemistry check, and feeding, everything is great. Nitrates, nitrites, pH, everything is in the ideal range. I do also dose minor trace elements and macro elements into the water, and when the carbon, nitrates go a little higher than I want, I do a little bit of carbon dosing. The tank is filled with tons of rocks. I mean, I really shouldn't say tons, but about a dozen softball-sized rocks, and just really cool. So I do want to also do an update on this Meteor Cephastria. It is a coral that has a little bit of sun damage, let's say, and has been doing very well. All the heads are now fully thriving and pushing out several new ones. You can see the tiny little ones on the outskirts. Those are the newest, and the color is coming back. It was a red color, and now it's starting to turn green, because that's what the original color was. And I wish my camera was a little bit better, but there we go. And just take a look at that for a second, along with one of my other favorites, the green star polyp. I did frag it, and it is growing very well. It's a little hard to see, but you can see it really kind of taking on to the rock there. Over here is some zoas and small, I believe, strawberry anemones, and quite a lot of them actually. But they also help with the nitrates and excess nutrients in the tank. Along with all of the inhabitants, they all coexist and thrive to balance the system. This is a pretty old hermit crab, actually. His name is Rupert, and he's been in the tank for pretty much since the tank has been running, which is about 2 years. And quite an interesting background, all natural. That is Cheeto, and it is kind of like a micro crustacean nursery. Lots of different things live in there. Copepods, amphipods, different types of starfish and detritus worms, and Possibly, if I can, I'll see if I can show you some. It's going to be really hard to see. Hopefully my camera will focus on it. I don't know if you can see, but some of those are actually moving. Darn, I wish it would focus better. There is a ton of life all over this tank. It's just very hard to film the tiny, tiny bits of life that live in this tank. Stay tuned for tonight's feeding, and you'll get to see my feeding process for the saltwater tank and some of the other fish. I'm going to do each tank separately as their own update today, and hopefully they're interesting. I am going to work on getting some better equipment and you know, do these videos a little bit better than a cell phone and a bullet points postcard. Stay tuned, folks. Enjoy the day.